at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We will be running past our time here today as we have fantasy football coming up in our second video. As you know, we do an hour number 2, but with the holiday and with it being Veterans Day earlier on this week, we've moved some things over here together. So we have an opportunity this morning to speak with 3 fantastic guests inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. We're going to start things off with an all-new Dolphin dive featuring someone who is no stranger to the broadcast, Susan Kim, the head coach of the Moyne Dolphins volleyball program in year 2 for her as the head coach of the program, as well as year 2 in their transition from Division 2 to Division 1 in the NCAA. From there, around 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, we will speak with Casey Brown. We spoke with the other half of the Section 3 Class AA football championship that's coming to the Dome this Friday when we spoke to CNS head coach Jim Ryan. Now you'll hear from CBA Brothers head football coach Casey Brown, who is undefeated with his team at 10-0, facing off against CNS this Friday night for the rights to call themselves Section 3 Class AA champions. And we'll round out this first few moments here of the broadcast here around 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll have the opportunity to speak with Allie Yaeger of Binghamton University and get her thoughts on her volleyball program as well. So with that being said, we are picture-in-picture with Susan Kim here, Moyne volleyball head coach during the 2024-25 season. Miss Susan, how are we doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, and I know you and I were talking off the air just about culture, and it's a word that some people throw around, but it's something that I really pay attention to. Been around a lot of teams in the last 21 years, and some teams have really good positive culture, and you can see it. And even if they're not necessarily winning every game, winning every match, when culture is building, you can see and say, okay, the right people are here, the right attitude is here, and eventually this is going to lead to wins. I've also been around teams that have terrible culture and they win, but you're like, this isn't going to last forever because this is about to blow up. So just what you can say about culture and beyond the wins and losses, what you're seeing with the environment of this team.
Yeah, I think this year there's been some pretty significant changes. I mean, the biggest thing is just the personnel that is now a part of the team has been a huge influence in the direction that this program is starting to go in. So I would say it's night and day, from last year, and there's some really good people that are here part of the program. So I'm just really excited that, I got lucky and was able to recruit 11 really good people. And I'm kind of excited for the future. Well, not kind of, I'm excited for the future because I think there's really only one way up or one direction to go in, and that's up for us.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, on the recruiting trail, bringing in, student athletes that you're very excited about, what has been the message when you have a program that has been through a lot, has seen a lot, and has been looking for direction? How do you sell this program on what it can become, and not necessarily what it is right now, but what it can be?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, a lot of my conversations last year for the 24 class that's here now has been just completely being transparent about where the program was at last year, and kind of my vision of where I want to take the program and how we're going to get there. So I just wanted to kind of show them that what was at the time was not going to be what it's going to be moving forward, and that I want people who are excited to be a part of that change and to help start a new legacy here at Moyne. So those were kind of what my conversations in the recruiting during the recruiting process has been like.
So when you've been selling that legacy, this is what we can become, this is what we can be. I mean, obviously there's been a good response to that because recruiting has gone well for you. But just what you could say about that, about embracing the fact of like, this is who we are, but this is where we're going, just how you've embraced that, and how you feel like the response has been on the recruiting trail to you saying, this is my vision, this is where I see us going. Because obviously on the side of the families and on the side of the student athletes, they have to believe in something and have faith in something that is growing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one thing to like say something, but I think through action they kind of can see that I'm being genuine, through a lot of the conversations that we've had. I mean, they can see what the coaches are putting in, and what we're asking of them, and just being consistent throughout, with our message and our standards and our expectations. So, um, just again, I think just that communication piece and just having those conversations with them on a regular basis, and them just kind of understanding, hey, this is the direction I want to go in. This is
Yeah.
how we're going to get there. And while we're going through that process, keeping them accountable to those standards and expectations. So that's kind of, um, I guess, what's been happening is them seeing that, the conversations that we've been having were genuine. Um, yeah.
And though, you for that leadership side of things, I mean, you came in and we've talked about it before. You hit the ground running when you came in. It was immediate going out there recruiting. It was 4th of July and you're like, yeah, okay, that's a holiday, but I'm going to go do my thing. You have put so much work into this, and when I was doing my research and when Le Moyne decided to hire you, and I went back and I looked at everything that you had done up to this point. There's such a road for you of all this experience that you've had and these people that you've worked with and these things that you've done to get here, that to me, from just the sheer journey that you've had, there's a lot of value that Le Moyne got in the type of leadership that you can bring here with the wisdom and the knowledge. How has it been for you in this process? Because I feel like Le Moyne won in getting a coach that's really going to build something special, but flipping it on the other side, how do you feel about being at Le Moyne, and just what it's been for you in year 2 here?
Well, thank you, for the kind words.
Sure.
I think one of the things I liked about this position is just kind of the opportunity to grow something, and really, in my eyes, it was kind of to grow something from scratch.
Yeah.
I've had the experiences of turning programs around or getting them to go to places that they've never been before. But I've never had to start like from scratch. There's
Yeah.
always been something there. And even if, that program previously wasn't as successful, there was still something there. And I feel like here it's been like you're starting with a blank slate. I think just because of like the transition and some of the, changes that have been happening, recently. But I just kind of look at it as like if I really think I'm, you know, this is a chance to kind of like prove myself,
Yeah.
and start from, like I said, from zero, and see, how I can turn this program around, and where I can get them.
Yeah. And I mean, for you this season, I know we were talking off the air about, just kind of what you're seeing from this team and how you're seeing them grow and whatnot. What have been some of those moments for you that you look back on and you say to yourself so far? I mean, there's more obviously to be played here in 2024, 25, but from what you've seen up to this point, what are those things that stick out to you where you're like, you know what? Like, I've said what I wanted to do. I'm working here to keep my promises, but how do you see the student athletes kind of keeping their promises back to you from what you've seen so far?
I can see like through the conversations that we have, that even, now on, November 13th, that they're still bought in.
Yeah.
When we have our little huddle at the end of practice, or in the beginning of practice even, or even when we're on the road and just kind of having conversations with each other, they still have very strong, um, belief that this program can and turn around. And they're just as bought in as they were from day one, if not maybe even more now. They see that the team is getting along so well, both on and off the court, and not to say that everything has been, you know, rainbow and sunshine and all that stuff, but just to kind of see how they've worked through the adversity and the challenges, and um, I don't know how well they've carried themselves through all of that, has been pretty impressive. Like, yes, we're really young in age, but I've seen so much maturity in how they deal with certain things. And again, they're learning and still trying to figure some stuff out.
Right.
But I love their response to a lot of what's happened along the way. And definitely like the team having a growth mindset has been really important for us as well.
When you're recruiting, like you said, their mindset, they're still bought in, they're positive, they're still, seeing what they can be, what they can become. When when that happens and you're seeing that, is that you in recruiting just really digging into their personality and asking the right questions and just seeing like, okay, these are positive people, these are hardworking people, these are, because I mean some of it kind of feels like luck at times because you think you make the right decision, but at the same time, in a high octane situation, how are they going to act if they've never been in college before? What's that going to look like? So how much of it is coach's intuition and how much of it is luck when you're putting a team together and you take a step back and you look at them and you're like, wow, we really did recruit the right people.
Where I'm at in the recruiting process, I think right now a lot of it was luck. Um, and it's hard because the amount of time that I had with each of the recruits um, wasn't a lot. I'm not obviously each year I'm gonna get younger and younger, and I'm able to kind of get eyes on recruits for that are a little bit younger than what I've been looking at recently. And I would say I'm still pretty behind as far as you know looking into the future classes.
Yeah.
But I guess that's why I kind of attribute it to more luck than anything else because I've had such short amount of times with each of the recruits that are here, which is why I mentioned earlier even that I am lucky with the type of people that are here in this program. But I think part of the message that I've been sending to these recruits and being super honest and transparent is I'm not selling you. I'm not just trying to get you through the door. Like I really want people who want to be a part of what I'm trying to do here. And that's why I've kind of been so transparent about where we were, where we're going, and how we're going to get there. So I think that's kind of been the most important thing for me is like you know, I'm not trying to trick you. I'm not trying to, show you this fantasy world. But I think just being brutally honest through those conversations has kind of attracted the type of people that are willing to put in that kind of work and knowing that they might not necessarily see the wins, in that column until further along in their career, and that they're just kind of setting the foundation for that. So I think just them understanding that has been really important, and me delivering that message to them has been really important as well.
So for you, those pillars to get to where you want to go when you're building that foundation, bring me into the house. What are those things when you say like I'm not telling them all this stuff and not meaning it, like these are the things I want to do and this is what I'm implementing. What are those pillars that you've been locking in on and saying like this is how we create what I want to create?
Yeah, and we talk about trying to build a championship program, and that starts with really paying attention to the little things. Our core values as a program is tough, hardworking, and serving. Really just kind of focusing on the person more than the player itself, because I think
Yeah.
I don't think you can do one without the other. I think if you want to grow a really strong program with a strong foundation, then you need to have good people that are willing to kind of grind and do all that. So, those core values were actually brought up, a few years back when, my friend and I were a part of a different program, and we kind of sent like a bank of 40 character words to be like, all right, what are three words that you think best describe us? Because the program's always going to, mimic what the head coach is like, right? Or what the coaching staff is like. So that was something, those three words kind of popped up over and over again. And, you want those like-minded people in your program as well. So those are all things that we kind of talk about during the recruiting process. We want to build a championship program, but we want to do things the right way. Like, trust me, I want to win. I really want to win. But I'm not going to do it at all costs. I want to do it the right way. I want to bring in good people. And a lot of times you really just, it's the memories and the journey that you remember the most after you're done a season. And when you look back, it's not just, oh, wow, we won or, oh, wow, we lost, right? Like,
Yeah.
yes, we have a few more wins this year, but the memories and the journey itself was just so much more positive. And you really felt like we were more like a family unit than anything else. And I've been doing this for 20 years and I've been in the collegiate world for 13. So um, I've had some really good teams over the years. And I have to say, this probably is one of the top programs and as far as the type of people that I've been fortunate enough to coach. They're just genuinely good people here. Like they care about each other. They look out for one another. And it's all across the board. It's not like you have somebody who's like, ostracized or an outlier kind of.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, and I appreciate that inside look at that, and I think that that gives a lot of hope and a lot of excitement for this because I know you don't just say things to say things like you said. So before we hop out on this dolphin dive, it's the opportunity to rapid fire this thing as we've done before. You and I have talked about food. I'm very hungry in the studio right now, so if you're going to ask me questions, be gentle on the food. But what's your first question for me?
Uh, well, I know, I mean, as far as the relationship with Lemoyne, things have been um, up in the air, I guess.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you have that you're looking forward to, with some of the changes here at Lemoyne?
Yeah, I mean, this is year 4 of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership, and it has been. I think in the world of collegiate athletics, it reminds you that like anything can change at any time. And so, I mean, it has been because Bob and I are close. We always will be, and we have a bond that goes far beyond sports. So, working with him and having him as a mentor, one of the greatest experiences of my life. And then, having Mike, and I feel like we're just getting started in that respect. With Mike Lindbergh, getting to meet him, getting to sit down with him, the interim AD, and kind of get to know like where his head was at because he knew like he had just retired, so that was temporary. And then speaking with Phil, and Phil coming from Vanderbilt and from the SEC and what his mindset is and the things he wants to do, they're all different people and they're all different personalities. And my hope for it, and a lot of what I talked to Phil about is what do you see from what's there? What do you want? There's things that are there that have been implemented that Bob brought to life. There's things that Bob helped to create that he wants for the future. What do you think about what's there? What do you think about what is proposed and what are the other things you want to do? And so, I just look forward to the leadership. When it comes to me, I mean, I could talk to anybody and I can build relationships. So, I don't worry about the side of getting to know people and all of that. What I look at is the content of someone's character. I look at who you are, why you are. Are you doing things for the right reasons? I don't like
Mhm.
coaches that win at all costs. That doesn't mean anything to me. I don't like coaches that lose themselves in the world of, I've won a lot, so now I don't have to respect people. So, I mean, I think that in working with people all over the country and sometimes outside of the country, I've had the opportunity to really dig in and get to know how certain people are and how people lead. So, when it comes to Lemoyne, it's an important place to me. It's a valuable place in the community, and I want the right people working in the same direction because these student athletes are incredible. They constantly make me look up at God and say, thank you for letting me be around these people. And
Yeah.
so I think there's so much good at Lemoyne that I just want there to be that peace of mind of people working together in the same direction. And there's a lot of things that changed, D2 to D1, different athletic director, different coaches coming in and whatnot. So I think right now what I want to see is that everyone can take a big deep breath and we can all move forward in this life together, because Lemoyne is special, and I think a lot of people know that, and it's time that we all kind of show that, I would say.
Yeah.
You've been so good about answering my question. I'm not going to put you on the hot seat. You can give me one more. What else you got for me?
Well, you mentioned you're really hungry, and so am I. So I've been craving some stuff this morning, but
Okay.
is there anything you're craving?
Yeah, I mean, I make I've been making these homemade smoothies and I absolutely love them. So it's banana, strawberry, cut those up, throw them in, natural peanut butter and almond milk. And I'll use it as a meal. Sometimes it's two meals, but I definitely see the difference, feel the difference. So it's very simple. It only takes a few minutes and it's really, really good. So I am craving that. And I'm also craving a New York City bagel because I was in New York City a lot in October and I got really, really spoiled. And when you give me a New York City bagel, the moment I have it, like I want it so much, and then I have to like kind of forget about it, and then I want it again. So they just do them differently there. The water's different, and egg everything bagel, bacon, egg, and cheese, or egg everything with cinnamon, raisin, walnut, cream cheese. They're life changing, Susan. So
Yeah.
I miss those. I'm a big breakfast guy, so I miss the bagel sandwich. I know there's stuff here in Syracuse. It's just I got to give props to New York City. They do it different.
Yeah. I've been craving a good bagel as well, and being from, the Philly, like New Jersey area, I've been craving a pork roll. So I
Okay.
don't know if people know what that is, but I'm craving a pork roll.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been down in Philly recently here. I got some good stuff. So I know Philly. I know Philly's got some good things. I know New Jersey and New York. There's a lot. We got a lot up here, but yes, I'm kind of craving that. And at this point in the year, it's like you kind of want to travel and do some things before it snows and whatnot. So I get it. With
Yep.
that being said, Susan Kim here, Lemoyne Volleyball head coach during the 2024-25 season in this edition of the Dolphin Dive. Again, Susan, thank you for the work that you're doing. I love that when you first came in and it was like, you're in and you got to go. You walked into that office and it was just kind of walls. And now I see all of the Susan Kim pieces behind you here. So I'm happy that you've worked to build a home here, and I'm excited to see what that's going to become over time.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'll talk with you soon, and go get yourself some breakfast. At least one of us can go and eat something right now. So,
Will do. Will do.
all
Thank
right.
you.
Take care.
Bye.
That coming from Susan Kim here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. And as we move forward here on Wake Up Call, we have the opportunity to speak with Casey Brown, who's going to be joining us in just a moment here. And having Casey on the broadcast, you are, of course, with us on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So we appreciate you being here, hanging out with us where sports meets life, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the world. We can't thank you enough for being a part of the show here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So it means a lot to me, and means a lot to all of our incredible companies that we have the opportunity to work with, including Brooklyn Pickle down in Southern Pines, North Carolina, as well as Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Servomation, Mother's Cupboard, Avicoli's, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Mon Paz, the snack capital of the world, Fire Pit Barbecue and Saloon. We honor them as well. GG Cards and Brakes, Pizza Man, Great Lakes Honda City, Chick-fil-A, Cicero, as well as Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Bryan's Landing, and the exclusive partnerships that we have with Lemoyne College, Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, and the Binghamton University Bearcats. So, with that being said, I'm bringing in picture someone who is no stranger to the broadcast. You've gotten to know him well over the years, and that is Mr. Casey Brown. The team is 10-0 on the 2024 season, and they have an opportunity this Friday night at 8 p.m. on November 15th to head off to the Dome and go for another sectional championship under Casey Brown and his staff. Sir, how are you?
Good morning, Dan. I'm great. Living
So
the life.
I feel, you very serious right now. I'm not going to call it coach mode because I know that you always have a mode that you're in and a mode that you're doing here. But, seeing this team, which you've done, but I also know how this program is under you. And it's okay, we've done what we've done up to this point, but we're 0-0 going into Friday night. So just bring me into kind of how this season has gone and what you've taken away from it, as well as your kind of vision moving forward into this game. Because I know that, coaches can teach through losses, but really good coaches can also teach through wins.
Well, thank you for having us on, and I appreciate giving us some time here today to kind of talk about CBA football and this season that we're in right now.
Yeah.
This season started soon after our last game with the last year's team. And we got back in the weight room. We got back into the classrooms. We got back in the gym in the field. And we just started concentrating on what needed to be done next. And we evaluated some things from last year, made some adjustments, added a couple guys on staff. And, we went to work. And that's what we do. We clock it in every day. We bring our lunch pail. And it's a blessing to be able to work every day with these coaches, these kids, and these families.
Yeah, and like you said, you made some moves on the coaching staff. Just to go into specifically those moves that you made and what you feel like that's done for the team.
Chris Acuff was, he was at Syracuse last year, and he wanted to be able to stay around with his family, with his kids this year. So we were able to add him to the staff this year, working with the D-line. He's done a nice job with us. And then we added Jason Randall. Jason Randall was also coaching at the college level, came back home, and he was actually working with one of my alumni on a field. And we started having a conversation. We got on the whiteboard a little bit, and I offered him a job to take over the offensive line. So we got two new guys. Gideon Dixon, senior, still working with the D-line with Coach Acuff. I turned over my duties as the O-line coach, handed it over to Coach Randall, and Coach Cloutier is another young guy that's working with us. And we've seen some really, really good progress with those two units.
Yeah, for you, was it difficult to hand over your O-line duties?
My philosophy is go find somebody else that does it better.
Yeah.
I want to be able to fill this staff with guys that can do things better than I can. And as the head coach, that's my responsibility to these kids, their development, and potentially their future.
And when you put this, I mean, you made mention of some of the moves that you made. You're bringing collegiate coaches into this high school. Just what you feel that does for the program, that does for your kids, and bringing that knowledge and that wisdom and that experience from the collegiate level.
Well, first of all, you got to bring the right people in, right? Just because from the college level doesn't mean they're the right people. They have to be good human beings. They have to understand that at the college level, things might be a little different, more intense. They may have some more time, detail-oriented. So they have to understand what high school football is about. They have to be about what we are as a staff and who we are at CBA in terms of our culture. And we got to make sure that doesn't be disrupted just because somebody may have a resume that's, looks great. So we're very careful in terms of who we have work with these kids. But what it does do is it brings some college level, higher level focus in terms of what we're looking for, and especially in terms of just the fundamentals. That's one of our key pieces in terms of our development, making sure that our fundamentals are taken care of. The X's and O's will take care of itself, but if you don't have those fundamentals behind it, the base, you can't really move forward.
Yeah, and for you, Casey, with this program and with what you're building, we have come to a lot of people expect what we're going to see this Friday night, and that is CBA versus CNS. And CNS was led by Coach Klein for a long time, Dave Klein, and now Jim Ryan in his first year over there What can you say to this matchup specifically? The fact that, these programs who have sent guys to Division 1A FBS, and so there's a lot of focus on, the facilities of this program, both of these programs, on the people within these programs, on the fact that the talent within these programs can get to the FBS level. Just what it means to see this matchup. I know it's the next game in front of you, but a lot of people get up for CBA CNS, and it's something that they've been used to seeing in the Dome. So, and we just lost Casey here for a second, so we're going to work to get Casey back here, and so okay, we have Casey. So, yeah, just what you could say about that piece of it. This CBA CNS thing is something that the community has come to expect in a lot of ways.
Well, first of all, I think I only heard very few, but I think I understand the question.
Sure, yeah, like I'll go back.
I think my employer here may have tried to cut me out.
So,
no comment.
No,
But
what I was saying with it is CBA CNS. There's a lot of expectation at the beginning of the season. People say these are the teams that we're going to see at the end. This is a rivalry that has grown over time. They both are sending student athletes to the FBS level, and there's the facilities and the work that's being done here. There's a lot of things that go into what CBA is and what CNS is, and I feel like people at this point aren't surprised when they see these two logos in the Dome for a sectional championship. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on the rivalry and just, the fact that the community in Central and Upstate New York kind of every year is like, this is what we expect to get.
Some of these people that make these comments have never even touched a football. So we take care of ourselves. We live where our feet are. There's no guarantee about tomorrow. So we're very happy that where we are right now, and we have this opportunity to play on Friday. And our goal is to practice every Monday as far as we possibly can. But we don't worry about, expectations. We don't worry about outside expectations. We don't worry about what people are saying, what people are writing about. We take care of what needs to be done, in our weight room, in our classrooms, on our field, in our locker room. We want to make sure the culture is good. We want to make sure that we understand the expectations and everybody has a role. And, we don't listen to the outside noise. We don't listen to what people have to say. We focus on what the coaches have to coach and let the players play.
Well, you talk about culture, Casey. I mean, this is something that's not built overnight. And when you came in to CBA, and we've talked about it before, the history there and your respect for the history there. At the same time, you have to build your own culture with your coaches and just kind of what your vision is and those foundational pieces that you think are important to CBA, and then those foundational pieces important to you, and kind of blend it all together. So just over the years, what you can say about the building of this culture and maybe some of your proudest moments in seeing this culture become what it is.
Losing can either tear you down or build you up. And we had a couple seasons of 1-7s, and we had to have some tough conversations. And the guys that went through those years, we owe everything to, because we were able to build off of that. And we had a season of 3-3 in 21, and those guys never gave up. That group of guys never felt that they were down. We were close. We played the COVID spring the season before, and we were building something off of that. I think we were 2-3 maybe in that year, but we had some tight games, and we were building something, but the record didn't show it, right? So, but we kind of felt it that something was going on, and we just kind of stayed on that path, and we just we built a standard, and we've maintained that standard, and we now expect that standard, and the kids understand exactly what that means. And it's a wide list. But the kids understand what is expected of them.
And for you, it's so much more than football. It's building young men for the future. It's making sure that they have a great education, which I can speak to because I went to CBA, and I know what that education did for me in preparation to college. So when you look at the faith side of it, the educational side of it, the family man side of it, the be a good person in the community, serve others, all of those elements of it, just what that piece means to you, because so many people talk about wins and losses, but you and I talk about faith and family and who are you going to be in the 11th hour? Who are you going to be when you're backed against the wall type of thing? Just what you can say to the character of the young men that you coach and the environment at CBA that is open to faith, is open to education, is open to these things that you don't always hear about in athletics anymore.
Character shows up when nobody's watching. And we had Pat Murphy, the Milwaukee Brewers manager, was at CBA yesterday. He's an alumni, class 77 alumni, just inducted to the Syracuse Hall of Fame. He came to CBA to talk to the baseball team as well as the CBA students. And I was talking to one of our trustees before going in, and we were talking about, congratulations, you guys are doing great. And then he stopped me. He goes, but with the true character of your team, I saw today as I was walking in, one of your players stopped, came back, opened the door for me, and welcomed me into the school. He goes, that's because of what your program has done. So it's not even about the wins and losses. It's about the small little victories, about somebody holding a door for somebody they've never even known, they've never even met, and just welcoming them into CBA. And those are those little victories that I'm most proud of. Yeah, I'm very proud of our guys working really hard. I'm really, really proud of our scout team getting after it and making us better every single day. I'm really proud, on Friday nights and how we were able to celebrate. But it's these little victories in terms of that mean so much, where somebody is welcoming somebody's a kind individual helping somebody else out, being bigger than yourself and understanding, you're just a small part of the whole. But opening a door for somebody, really, that was just a wonderful moment for me as the head coach at CBA to hear something nice that wasn't about wins and losses.
Yeah, and for you, I kind of just want to let that on the final note to extend from there, just what you appreciate as you walk into the Dome once again for an opportunity for the 2024 Section 3 Class AA Championship, just what you do in those moments when you take that deep breath, when you walk out onto the field, just what you're thankful for, what you're appreciative of, and what that moment means to you.
I appreciate every day that I can wake up and have another day where I can fight. And that's what we're going to do.
That coming from Casey Brown, locked in and ready for Friday night. Sir, I will see you Friday night at the Dome. CBA Brothers head football coach ahead of the 2024 Section 3 Class AA Championship. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for the person that you've been to me beyond everything. And it goes well beyond the win-loss column. And I've always felt that way about you and your character. So I know that you defer to other people, but I want to say thank you to your leadership and, of course, to your staff that I've gotten to know over the years. And I look forward to Friday night.
Thank you, sir. Can't wait to see you. Go Brothers.
Take care. I'll talk to you soon. That coming from Casey Brown here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break here on the show. And as we do that, I want to thank you all once again for being here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. It is an honor and a privilege to be here with you every single morning. And, it's life is life, and we all go through it. And on this show, I really try to take that time to meet you where you're at and say, if you're having a good day, let's keep doing it. If you're having a really, really tough week and you're having a tough day, then let me try and lift up your spirits. Let me try and help you get to a better place. Because who are we in life if we can't help other people? And we're not perfect. And we're going to make mistakes, and that you're going to try your best and you're still going to feel like you made a mistake. And I just want you to know out there in life, please keep trying. You can't fail unless you stop trying. And that to me is failure. When I talk to people about things and I say, I never feel like I failed myself. I never feel like I failed. Well, Dan, what if this didn't work out or that didn't work out? Is that a failure? If you don't quit and you keep trying, to me, you're not failing. That there's a lot of truth to if you lead with a pure heart and good intentions. You might make mistakes. You might have moments where somebody gives you some tough love and some constructive criticism and says, hey, what about this or what about that? But if you're willing to grow and you're leading with a good heart and you're leading with those pure intentions and you're working to become the best version of yourself, then hold on to that, folks. Hold on to that. Because life is not easy. Life is challenging. Life is going to bring you to so many different places. And you're not going to be perfect. And honestly, in my mind, when you try to be perfect, that's when you trip. When you try to not make a mistake, that's when you make a mistake. When you're so focused on losing, that's when you don't win. You got to just play free. You have to play free. Like I played basketball for the majority, from 7 all the way through my high school. And there was a game that I was in and the coach put me in. And I was surprised because I didn't get in a lot. And I worked in practice and I know fully well, and I say this all the time, I could shoot. I don't think my coaches necessarily gave me enough credit for my shooting ability and my ability to make free throws, my ability to make shots all over the court. I also think that I needed to check myself and I needed to run more. I didn't have the conditioning that I should have had, and yet I could shoot. Coach put me in one game, and I went to the left side of the top of the key, not quite the wing, but just to that left, took a 3, made it. Come down the floor, took another 3, made it. Now we're close. Now if I make this shot, we're in it. Like we're getting back in it, but like we were down by 9. Now I make this shot, we could be a tie game right now. Or within a point. And I thought about it. I thought, you made a 3, you made another 3, now it's on you, now I feel the pressure, now it's on my shoulders, I have to make this 3. I missed it. The first 2 I just shot. The first 2 I said, I got a good look, I'm going to trust myself, I'm not going to think too much into it, I'm not going to think like, oh, is coach going to take me out if I miss it? Oh, is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? Are people going to boo me? Are people going to... No. I just said, you know what? I got to go out here and I got to play the game to the best of my ability, and I made the shots. I trusted in my abilities, I trusted in my preparation, and I trusted in being ready for the moment, and I took the shots. And I made them. The moment that I told myself, please don't fail, please don't miss this, I missed. So, in life, you just hope that you're surrounded by people that see you work with a pure heart and good intentions. See that, yeah, sometimes you might be hard on yourself and sometimes you might do this or do that in the grand scheme of trying to do the right thing. But you hope that people see you, and you hope that people see your efforts and they see why you do what you do. You hope that they know that you're trying. They know that you're working hard. And you hope that people give you the time and space and opportunity to grow that. Because we are all going to make mistakes. We are all going to miss shots. We're all going to overthink something at some point. It just happens. But the goal in life is that the next time you take a shot, you play with the freedom that you played with on those first 2, and not on that third one when you were thinking, I got to make it. I have to do this. This has to work. Just let it work. When I got into this, I didn't say, this business has to work. This has to go this way. I have to be on this channel. This has to... No, I went with my love and my passion and my, honestly, people are, I just went with my passion and my desire. I said, I want to be a broadcaster. I know I'm capable of doing it. I know that there's nobody out there like me. That was it. I believe that I can do it. So I worked toward it. You know, but you're going to hit bumps in the road. Not everybody's going to see your value. Not everybody's going to hire you. Not everybody's going to think that you're great at this and great at that. You know, my mom wanted to be a flight attendant at 18. She became a flight attendant at 47. She never gave up. She never gave up on her dreams. 29 years she didn't give up. Right? A lot of people would have quit after 29 days. 29 years she didn't quit. My dad was told when he was practicing law by someone in the field that he's never going to be a lawyer and he should choose another profession because this person didn't think my dad was capable. Then my dad turned around and served as a lawyer for 44 years in high jobs, critical to the protecting of citizens in the state of New York. But somebody told him, you're not going to be successful doing this. Do something else. So in life, when I talk to these coaches, it's not just wins and losses for me. Yes, I want to see all these coaches win. I want to see all these coaches be successful. I meet a lot of fantastic people in the world that I get to live in. But I look at their character. I look at what they're building. I look at how they treat me. How do they treat me? How do they treat their student athlete? When they win, how do they treat me? When they lose, how do they treat me? I pay attention to that with coaches. Are you available when you lose? Are you available when you win? Because some coaches lose and they're not available. Some coaches win and they're too big for everybody. I don't like those people. I don't associate with those people. I associate with the coaches that whether they're 4-20 or 20-4, they're going to have a conversation. They appreciate the opportunity. They appreciate speaking about their program. That's what I value. Because life is always going to go up and down, right? You might have your you-know-what together. And you might be talking to someone and you're like, man, get your you-know-what together. But you know what? 2 months later, something happens to you. You hit a bump in the road and now you don't have your you-know-what together. How you treated that person may affect how they treat you now, because when they were going through some turmoil and they were trying to work through things with a pure heart and good intentions, how did you treat them? Because now that you're going through, we're all going to go through it. Whatever mountain you think you're on the top of right now, you will go through adversity. And how you treat people, that will come back to you. You see somebody struggling, but they're doing things with goodness in their heart. We've all had stuff. We've all been through stuff. We have all had a past. We've all had a life. And we can't, even if somebody tells you what they've been through, you cannot pretend to live the life that somebody else lived. So it is extremely important in this world that we live in to understand that how you treat people on the way up, if you fall down a little bit, you got to remember you're going to see those people again. God makes sure that you see those people again. And what I've learned about life is you're never going to be completely ready. Life is going to hit you, but you're never going to be completely ready. You're never going to be completely ready. For the good stuff, for the tough stuff, you can prepare yourself to the best of your ability, but life is life, man. And what matters to me is the people, they say this. They say there's people that you will meet that will find you at peace and they will break you into pieces. And there's people that will find you in pieces and they will help you have peace. I'm not saying break yourself up and see who comes and saves you. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the ones that are your ride or dies, the coaches that are going to be there for you, the student athletes that are going to fight, the girlfriend, the boyfriend, the husband, the wife, the friends, the family members, the ones that really got you are going to see you have moments where you're difficult. You might be struggling, but they ain't going to leave your side. And I rock with those people that don't leave the sides of people, because we're all going to go through it. And you might be really on your P's and Q's right now, but snap of a finger and you could be trying to figure it out too. So be good to people in this world and lead with a pure heart and good intentions. You're going to get a whole lot more from there than just simply, as Susan Kim said it, winning at all costs. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back in just a few minutes with Allie Yaeger here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business, had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there was something about, owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York, to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in 2007, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There was a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There was a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience. It's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really change the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allowing customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servamation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machines, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean-to-cup coffee machines. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. In a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're gonna be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever gonna have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And as we get set here to welcome Allie Yaeger to the broadcast, the head coach of the Binghamton Bearcats volleyball team, and excited to have her here on the show with us once again here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, coming off of that fast break, having Allie here with us to speak on her team and to speak on the successes that they've had and all the positives as they move forward here. Spoke with Allie as well as her student athletes during this season and seen the success come from there, which has been wonderful, to talk with them earlier on and see a lot of the things that they've been doing. And now at the time we're talking a 17-9 record, 7-2 in the America East. And as they step forward here, more to be played. And of course, coming up here, they have a match today here on Wednesday at 6 p.m. And that game is going to be at Lehigh, that match at Lehigh, and then over at NJIT this Sunday in Newark, New Jersey. So we'll bring Allie here with us in this Bearcat break room in picture and have the opportunity to speak with her on this season and on the successes of this team. It was so exciting to see her energy and the energy of her student athletes, and that energy has continued on the court in this volleyball season. So Allie, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. And I got to say this, everything that you all kind of brought that energy to say, this is who we are. I can honestly tell you from my viewfinder, you have not disappointed from the conversation of this is who we are. This is what we're excited about. This is this family and this journey we're taking. Consistently through the season, I have seen you live up to the words, you and your student athletes. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. I mean, that's it's hard to be able to do all the things you want to do and say all the things you want to say. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel like we were talking yesterday, but then I also feel like we talked last 100 years ago. So I can't sit here and say, yeah, the season's flown by. And I also can't sit here and say it's taken forever. It's just been kind of a whirlwind, and just everything's been happening so fast. And at the same time, I'm like, God, can championships just get here already?
Yeah, and I feel the same way with that. I mean, to me, it's like, okay, you're 4 matches in, and at the same time, it's like, oh, the season is now in this postseason area. So for you, when it doesn't necessarily speed up, but it doesn't necessarily slow down, how have you navigated through this season, and how have you navigated through those moments where you feel like I want to take a deep breath and enjoy it, and those other moments where you're like, I feel like I have forever, right? I mean, every time you step into a season, we feel like I waited so long, it's finally here, I can enjoy it. And then you feel like, oh my gosh, I need just life to stop spinning for a second, and I need to take a breath.
Yeah. I mean, that's so funny you say that. This last week in general was so much. I said to all my close people, I'm like, I can't wait for Sunday night to lay my head on the pillow and be done with this week, and hope to God that we had 2 wins underneath our belt from being at home with our conference teams. But last week was crazy. We had birthdays celebrating on the team. We had to prepare the girls for the hardest weekend minus conference tournament weekend, and to prepare them. And they were must wins for us this last weekend against UMBC and UNH if we wanted to continue to hopefully come in first and host the conference tournament. It was just such a huge weekend. My youngest son had a birthday on Saturday. My father was in town from Wisconsin. It was just a crazy week for me last week. So it's funny that you say that, like, how do you just manage it? And, there's times where it's like, you just have to stop and take a deep breath and go to your happy place, whatever that is. And sometimes for me, that is seriously going home and cooking a meal for dinner. And that is my happy place to just get me away from the laptop and film and scouting reports and just everything. But at the same time, just being here and being present in my office and being on campus and being in that gym and being here for the student athletes is always just so very important to me. Because as much as busy as I am, they're just as busy. Their time management is crazy with all their classes. we got kids that are pre-med taking exams after exams after exams, trying to get into med school. Some of them are graduating in December. It is so much insanity going on right now. So it's like, you just have to take it one day at a time. And I know that sounds so corny and what everybody says about it, but it's true. I mean, everybody's talking about NJIT this weekend, and I'm like, we got to get through Lehigh on Wednesday, it's just one day at a time, one practice at a time. What are we going to work on today? What do we need to get better today as a group? It's one day at a time right now for us as a team.
Yeah. And like you said, it's one day at a time, yet I feel like this season, captured in pictures, captured in moments, has been such an incredible run already. And I would like to think and hope that this team is just getting started. When you think about the snapshots of this season, are you feeling that? Are you just like, wow, like we said we can do this, but then we did it, this student athlete, like where they were yesterday and where they are today. Like, I just feel like there's an energy, and it's like a ramping up. I felt the team kind of ramp up, but I don't see the team stopping or going down. I see like, okay, yeah, they did that. Well, that's cool. Oh, they did that. Okay, they faced that adversity. Now they did this. There's something about energy and doing this thing for 21 years in broadcasting that I just feel like there's an energy around this program that I feel like something is coming. Something is like budding here. And I'd love to get your thoughts on it because it feels tangible to me.
Yeah, I mean, volleyball is all about momentum. And if I had to put money on it, I probably said this to you when we talked earlier on in the season. But me and my assistant coach always tell the girls we need to be playing our best volleyball come early November. If we have losses before that, if we don't look so hot before that, if we're trying to figure out our starting lineup before that, that's what it's all about. It is, as long as we are playing and peaking and playing our best volleyball early November, that's what we want. And right now it's like we are finally there. And I was getting really nervous. I'm not going to lie. I was getting really nervous because we were surviving is what I like to say. We went to Albany on the road a couple of weeks ago. Then we went to Bryant 2 weeks ago on the road. And what everybody was doing in this conference was winning at home and losing on the road. And so we were like, we have to break that trend if we want to take first and we want to be up there and we want to have an opportunity to host this conference tournament. And so when we went to Albany, it's like 3 weeks ago, I don't think we played great. We survived. We won in 3. And if you're just somebody who didn't watch the game, you're like, oh yeah, they won in 3. That's great. Whatever. Yeah. It was tough. It was really, really, really hard. We didn't play great and we survived. And then we went to Bryant. And Bryant is not a place where Svetlana Ilieva likes to play volleyball. It's something about that gym. It's every single year. I couldn't tell you what it is, but she just usually has her worst match at Bryant. And me and her sat down and talked about it so much. And we joke about it. It's to the point where we laugh and we joke about it. Yeah. And so we walked into that gym and I'm like, are you going to be able to handle this? And she's like, yeah. And she didn't have a very good night at Bryant. We went 5, we won. But again, it's just like we survived. I just wanted to get out of there. Like, same thing at Albany. It's like we won, we survived, we didn't play great, but let's get out of here and get home and just get back to working on what we need to work on. So for me, I feel like we haven't been playing our best volleyball up until recently, and we've just been surviving. And now this last weekend was huge, and our confidence moving forward. I do feel that this weekend we have been playing our best volleyball. And, we talk with the girls all the time, and the top 4 teams in this conference, and I don't want to not include Albany in it because Albany and Bryant are both fighting right now. It's going to be a huge match on Sunday for them. Whoever wins, it's Bryant versus Albany. Whoever wins that game on Sunday, is going to get the 4th seed for the tournament. And the top 3 is us, UNH, and UMBC. We've been tied forever for first place, and now we just snuck into first after this last weekend. But we talk all the time. All those teams know who they are. They know who they are. UNH, they'll kill you with their defense. They're not overly powerful offensively, but God, they dig everything. They block everything. They play until you make an error, and that's how they win. You know, Bryant, they're a bunch of bulldogs. I mean, they're like crazy and energetic, and they're smaller, and they play with a chip on their shoulder, and that's how they beat you. They intimidate you. They yell through the net. They over celebrate, and that's what makes them who they are. UMBC, they're old. They're really old. They're all like grad seniors. They're all grad students who have been there together for 5 years. They've won the last 4 championships. They know how to win. They know how to win with each other. And I constantly sit here and I'm like, who are we? Because I feel like everyone's like, well, they're just a team with Svet. And, you know, if we can shut down Svet, they're not going to win. So just in the last couple of weeks, we've really tried to work on 2 words that are distribution and contribution. And we need our setter to be able to distribute the ball to everybody, not just Svet. But we're doing that. We need everybody else to start putting the ball away as well, not just Svet. So we really were successful when you look at our stats after this last weekend, how everybody contributed. And we were able to distribute the ball, and it wasn't just the Svet show. She's amazing. She's so good. She's playing the best volleyball she's ever played in her life right now. But we need everybody else to help out. We can't just do this with Svet.
Yeah, you know, and I appreciate that look into it. I mean, we look at how you've done and what you've done. You have these last 2 matches of the regular season on the road, and at Lehigh and at NJIT, like you were talking about here. But when we look at these matchups and we look at overall, you're 7-2 at home, you're 7-6 on the road, you're 3-1 on neutral court. You have a winning record in all these places. And you said teams within this Conference of the America East, they win at home, they struggle on the road. You have an opportunity with another conference match to keep a winning record on the road. And I know that, you know, Lehigh non-conference play, that's important. That's right here, right now. It's in this moment. But to know that this team has found a way away from home to win, at home to win, neutral ground to win. I look at that, and it's kind of a stat that I take really in any sport when I'm like, how few teams, no matter what is going on overall and this and that, how few teams can get through a regular season with a winning record at home, on the road, and on neutral. And so, you know, you have the opportunity to secure that in these next 2 matches. Just what you can say to that effect, that this is not a team that's really good at home but stinks on the road or can't play on neutral court. This is a team that has shown we can rise above the storms wherever they are.
Did I lose you? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you know, geez. This team loves playing on the road. And I think earlier on in the season when we got those big wins against Boston College and Rutgers and BCU, against the bigger named schools with good programs, those were all road wins for us. Those were all neutral sites for us. And this team is, I think what it shows the most is how close they are as a team. You know, they're so nice. I mean, they get along so well. It's probably the nicest group of girls that I have ever coached before. And they're fun to be around. They're always laughing. They're always loud. But they enjoy being on the road with each other, because when they're on the road with each other, they live with each other.
Yeah.
They're in the same hotel rooms with each other. They're eating together. Whereas when we're home, they're not doing all that kind of stuff, you know? So it's like on steroids of being together when we're on the road, and they love it. They love road wins. They love road trips. They love being together. And so I just think that has a lot to do with just how we are on the road. And they're just determined. This group, so many of them have so many different stories. They're all so special in their own ways. And they all just want it so bad. They want to win. They want rings. They want the NCAA tournament. They want a selection show. You know, when we celebrated senior day this last Sunday, it's like, you know, on Friday before our game, our pregame talk with the girls, I had 2 of the seniors tell their favorite memories. And then on Sunday before the game, I had the other 2 seniors tell their favorite memories of being a part of the program. And it's just like, they're all so different and so special in their own ways. And I want things for this team so badly. And with you saying, we're able to win at home and we're able to win on the road and we're able to win at a neutral site, it's because they want it. And obviously I want it too, but it's because deep down they just want to win so badly. And some of them weren't used to winning as of a couple of years ago. So once they got the taste of it, they just continue to want it. And obviously winning is contagious and so is losing. So, just being on a roll right now with this team and the things that they want and the goals that they want to accomplish, I'm here for it. I want good things for them. And honestly, the parents are such a big part of our program too. And I mean, everywhere we go, the parents are there supporting. We got brothers and sisters in the stands, grandparents in the stands, literally every place that we go and play, we have tons of parents there. And I want it for the parents too. As a mother myself, like celebrating your own children is absolutely wonderful. And there's a lot of parents on this team who experienced losing, before a couple of years ago. So to give that experience not only to the players, but to the families and the parents who put so much into their daughters in this program is very high up on my list.
Here with Allie Yaeger, the head coach of the Binghamton volleyball program. And here in this season, 2024-25, the Bearcat Break Room and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. 2 matches left. And if my math that I'm looking at is correct, you take care of business, you get to host.
Correct.
So how do you... this is huge, but you still gotta do it. So it's how do you manage that emotion of like these girls knowing we are right there, but then saying, okay, but we're not there yet. So like, how do you focus that where it's like, take all that energy and all that positivity and everything that could be, but this is where I'm going to remind people that Wake Up Call's tagline is where sports meets life. Because I lived this yesterday. Is we know where we want to go. We can see ourselves getting there, but we have to take the steps. So just bring me into that.
Yeah, the first thing when we beat UNH on Sunday in the reverse sweep in 5, we as a team were on the court together and everybody's hugging and, we come together in the huddle and I said, I'm so proud of you guys because I was. I mean, we were down 2-0 and then to come back and reverse sweep, it's such a fun feeling as a volleyball player and as a coach to have that energy to be able to reverse everything around, switch things up and be able to pull off that win. But I said, listen, I want you guys to enjoy this and enjoy this night and don't forget this day. But, as soon as you guys wake up tomorrow morning on Monday, we have to get the job done at Lehigh, but you guys have to have NJIT on the brain. Yeah. And as hard as we knew this last weekend was going to be against UMBC and UNH, this weekend, in my opinion, is going to be the hardest match we played all conference because expectations are there. The girls know what they need to do. It's going to be added pressure. We don't play well at NJIT. I'm not going to lie. We usually struggle in that arena. I don't know why. We're going the day before. We'll get there on Saturday. But, just keeping things as normal as possible, in my opinion, going to class, showing up to practice, doing the normal scouting reports, watching the normal film. We'll prepare once we're done with Lehigh starting, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. All we'll do is work on defending NJIT at practice and working hard to just make sure that the girls are prepared. As usual, they're always very, very, very prepared before we play any match and just go on like it's another match. Every match is so important. I tell the kids that every single time we take the floor, every point is important. Every set is important because honestly, we beat UMBC in 3 on Friday night. And if we were to be tied with UMBC, we do not have the tiebreaker by 1 point. So they beat us in 3, we beat them in 3. And then when you add up the points as to how many points you scored against them, we lose the tiebreaker by 1 point. So that's 1 missed serve. That's 1 bad referee call. That's 1 hit out of bounds. So it's just like I tell them constantly, every time you touch that ball, it counts and it matters. So you need to prioritize first ball contacts. You need to not make bad hitting errors. You need to not send a ball sailing out of bounds. So I've said that from day one when we started conference play this year, and it's no different going into this weekend against NJIT.
Yeah. I just realized something. Volleyball coaches can say something about officials. I'm just kidding.
Don't get me started.
But, you know, I just know football coach, they got to work around it. So, but
No.
but so for you as you have this match today, and then you have another. First and foremost, thank you for doing this today because it's match
Of course.
day. You know, so bring me into to right now, to in this moment, to what you have in front of you right here today. Like what is, I mean, Bethlehem is not that far away, right? So
Correct.
So what goes into what we're looking at today?
Yeah, you know, today is all about just continuing to get better and to continue to take the momentum from this last weekend into this game and into the weekend. We need as many non-conference matches as possible because we are such a small volleyball conference. So with us only having 6 teams, I only have 10 conference games. Always my goal is to have 20 wins in a season. And we can hopefully get there this year. But it's really hard to do that when you only play 10 conference matches. So to get good RPI teams that are going to challenge you in our area midweek is hard to do, but it's a good thing that we have the Lehighs in our area, the Colgates in our area, the Cornells in our area, who are traditionally good volleyball programs who are going to challenge us. And, you know, you never know. I mean, we could figure something out tonight in our match that we're like, oh my gosh, we need to fix that, and we need to fix that now. So there are a couple things we put in yesterday at practice that we really needed to do a better job this last weekend and work on. So hopefully we're going to work on those things tonight. Lehigh's a good program. It's hard to play in their gym. They have a very balls are right behind the court, so we always struggle serving in there because it's a shorter serving distance. So it's challenging. It's just another opportunity for these girls to play. It's another opportunity for somebody like Svet to build on her stats this season, and just to learn. I'd much rather play a match than go in the gym and practice. I think we learn way more by playing matches, and you get an opportunity to win, and that's what we're here to do.
I love it. Well, let's jump into some rapid fire.
Yeah.
What do you got for me? What's your first question?
What is your all-time favorite TV series?
Oh, Boy Meets World. Boy Meets.
Get out of town. That's it. That's good. I like it.
Yeah, Boy Meets World. I still watch it, and I have a Feeney. I definitely.
Okay.
I got a Mr. Feeney, his Tom DeSantis. He's in my phone as Feeney D for DeSantis.
Oh my gosh.
And I will say that. So when I went to New York, so my entertainment show, Superpowered Pop, we cover New York Comic Con.
Okay.
So a few years ago, I went out to New York Comic Con. I found the first announced guests, the first of like any of the emails they sent us. They're like, Ben Savage is coming, Danielle Fishel, and Will Friedle. And I said to myself, I don't care about anything else as long as I go there and I meet these people. And I met Ben Savage. He was kind of, you know, sign and move on. Danielle Fishel, who was my first crush ever.
Yes, you and many, many, many men, yes.
Yeah. See, the thing is, though, is like, she was my first crush ever, but she seemed like the girl next door. And when I met her, I treated her like we went to high school together. Like, I just treated her like a normal human being. I was just like, you know, this is you. That's like, I treated her like somebody you walk by a million times, where there were guys that were going to meet her that had T-shirts of her face and all this stuff. And I'm like, that's not... I'll tell you this. I may not know a lot of things about dating, but you don't get a girl to date you by putting her face on your T-shirt. So
right, you just played it cool. Like, you guys have known each other for years.
Yeah, so I just walked up to her and I was like, hey, nice to meet you. Talked to her a little bit. And then all of a sudden she's talking to me about Buffalo. She's talking to me about things in her life and things with her mom. And then she's like, do you want to take a selfie? And I said, yeah. She's like, give me your phone. And then like, I just went up and stood there next to her, and she's just like doing this, and there's no like handler there. And like I felt bad. I'm like, she has a line, so I was trying to be like, oh, okay. And she was just comfortably talking to me. And I remember just being like, wow, she's a really nice person like that.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. But meeting Will, who played Eric, Will and I have a lot in common in the fact that sometimes our comedy is just because of something wild that we say. And so being around him, he was like, what I took away from him is whoever discovered him went into like a 7-Eleven and saw him just talking and being himself. And they were like, can you do that, but on camera? Because he was the same guy. And it was funny because people were like, you know, coming up to him like, can you say the Feeny? And like screaming fee hee hee and doing all that stuff. I'm talking to him about Tom DeSantis, about my Feeny. He looks at me and he goes, see? He goes, you get it, man. And we're talking back and forth. And then he did it. I didn't ask him to do it. He just like, he wrote and he like wrote it on the thing. He wrote to Dan and then he wrote fee he hine. And then he like put his, and we were just standing off to the side talking. And I was like, you know, man, I said, it was really good talking to you. He was like, you too, man. And it was just like two just guys having a chat. And it was funny because in the show, like somebody would say something to him and they're like, oh, did you mean to do that on purpose? And he'd go, yeah, you know, like that. And he did that when we were talking. I said, he's like, nice sneakers, man. He's like, I really like your kicks. I said, I appreciate it. I said, some people think they're the Kevin Durant. Some people think they're for the Flash. And I just look at him and I go, and he goes, and he did it back. And he's like, all right, man, like, see you. And then I got to actually interview them when they did a panel. I got to ask a question in front of this room of thousands of people. I got to ask them what their single greatest their single greatest lesson they learned from the Boy Meets World show.
Right.
And that was really crazy and inspiring and fun. But yeah, I mean, Boy Meets World to this day, if I need to like reteach myself something that I forgot, I'll just go right back to the show.
Oh my gosh, that's great. That's awesome. That's a really good story.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
My question back to you: if you could live in a television or movie universe, what universe would you want to live in, and why? So, if you could jump into any TV show or any movie, where would you go and why?
Oh my gosh, that is such a good question. I mean, Saved by the Bell. Come on. I mean, going back to high school, I love my high school years growing up in Wisconsin and just like going back to high school and being back in the days that were so simple, you know, no cell phones, no social media, like everything is just so simple back in high school and back in the old days. And I mean, and I love Saved by the Bell. It was like one of my favorite TV shows growing up. But yeah, you know, just going back in that time in your life, I guess, and even that time in history when Saved by the Bell was on and just everything just being so simple.
Yeah. I love that answer. I have a second question already, but what's your second question?
Okay. Is there like a bucket list concert to see somebody like live in person that you haven't seen that you want to see?
Yeah, I haven't been to a concert in forever, and I would like to see, I'm just going to name them. I would like to see Florida Georgia Line. I'd like to see Dan and Shay. I would like to see, and this is sad for me because like I've worked on music. A lot of people don't know this, but I've been singing since I was 3.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, and I've actually written to this point like 40 different songs.
Wow.
And I found my dad brought over some like old stuff, and I found like an old song list that I had put together. So it's Phil Collins. I would like, I know he's been through a lot, and I would just love to be in a studio with him. And there's just something about his music. But I mean,
Yeah.
I would say Phil Collins. I would say I've already seen Journey, but I love seeing Journey, and I want to pick somebody. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to go through because I like a bunch of different genres. Well, honestly, this is music, but it's not necessarily a concert. I want to see the original cast of Rent. Like, I want to see
Oh,
them.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I want to see, because that classic rock, kind of like that
Yeah.
R&B, but rock, like, that's kind of where a lot of my voice lives. And so
Yeah.
there's so many songs in there that are so
Yeah.
moving, and you really feel like the people that sang them felt them. So
For sure.
I would say that.
And that's been off Broadway for a long,
Yeah,
long time.
I know.
Long time.
I know.
Yeah.
So my question back to you, going off of Saved by the Bell, and I ask you
Yeah.
this question fully knowing that I have something to tell you that you probably won't believe, but I would like to know,
hmm
what's the best prank you've ever played on somebody?
The best prank. God, I'm not a prankster. Okay, this was actually good. So, are you a TikTok guy? Like, or did they? Yeah, they do it on TikTok. Are you
Yeah.
a TikTok guy? Like,
I mean, I obviously, like, I know about it, but I'm not on there that much.
okay, so there was like this thing that everybody was doing to like their parents, and I don't know if you saw it, and they were telling their parents that somebody had died, like a celebrity, like who they don't know, so like
Yeah.
if you're a huge, whoever fan, a big time singer or an actor or whatever, you're like, oh my God. And then the parents are like, what? And they're like, Tina Turner passed away, and she actually did. But when they really didn't. And then the parents are like, shut up, are you serious? And the parents like lose their minds, and it's like, no, like, we're kidding. So me and my two children thought it'd be funny to do that to my mom over Keith Morrison from Dateline.
Okay.
Because she loves Dateline and she's like obsessed with Keith Morrison. So when she was out visiting us, this was actually like a year or so ago, and we got it on video. And I was like, oh. And my mom was like, what? And I go, Keith Morrison dead at however old he is. I'm 75. And she's like, no. And she like started crying. I'm like, Mom, it was a prank. It was a joke. I swear to God. Like, and she was really, really mad. And we still like watch the video to this day because we think it's really funny.
Well,
That's probably the most recent.
Okay.
And yeah, it was a good one for us.
So I got a prank from Saved by the Bell, and I decided to see if it would work.
Okay.
So when I was in college as a freshman, my buddy Steve lived 2 doors down, and he lived across from his door was across from the janitor's closet.
Okay.
Don't ask me how I did it or don't ask me where I got the rope from, because I don't remember, but I got rope, and I roped his door to the janitor's closet, which is something I saw on Saved by the Bell, and he couldn't get out of his room for like 2 hours.
Oh my God, that's funny.
And the greatest thing about that prank is that it worked, but it was that when he was yelling at me, the door kept slamming. So he would open the door to yell at me, and I could only hear like every few words. So he's like, Dan, swear, gonna, you couldn't hear anything. So like, so to me, like, it was amazing. And he almost missed his class, so I felt terrible. But I mean, to know that there was a prank I saw on Saved by the Bell, and I successfully pulled it off in real life. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. And you'll remember that for the rest of your life.
Oh, I played so many pranks on Steve, but in my defense, he declared war on my home. So I'm like the Godfather. Like when you say it's on, it's on. So and I don't have a 1, 2, 3, 4 to 10. I go 0 to 10. So you get to ask, what's your last question for me?
Last question. What was your first, and how old were you, professional, any type of athletics event? What was it? When was it?
Oh boy. Let me think.
That you can remember,
Yeah.
I guess.
My first athletic event. I it might have been a Syracuse football game, but I remember the Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh, cool.
And my dad, and this was so cool. Like, this was something really cool with my dad. My dad's been in law enforcement forever. And so my dad was talking to this cop, and my dad, served as a lawyer for 44 years and retired recently. So he's talking to this cop, and Showtime Gaffney was there. And Showtime Gaffney is my favorite Harlem Globetrotter of all time. And
Okay.
Showtime had all these people, and there were rows. It was just like a mound of people, and then it was like back four deep, and I'm just like, how am I supposed to get in there? How am I supposed to get his autograph? I don't know how much time he has. And I looked at my dad, and my dad knew I wanted Showtime Gaffney, and he said something to the cop, and the cop yelled, he goes, "Hey, Showtime." And he points to me, and he signed my thing and then went back to signing everybody else's stuff. And
Yeah.
I just remember looking at my dad going like, oh my gosh, my dad's like a gangster. Like, that's so cool. Like, I was like, my dad can do that. And I mean,
Right.
so to this day, like, having Showtime's autograph means a lot to me for sure.
And how old were you then?
I want to say, and that's why I'm saying there was other events that happened, but I think I was
That's what
10.
you can remember.
I think I was 10 years old when that happened.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I was 10.
Yeah.
So my last question for you. I'm gonna stick with like shows and stuff. I'm gonna ask you the question that I asked Boy Meets World. What is the single greatest lesson you've learned from a TV show? What was it, and what show?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. These are such hard questions. I need like 3 weeks to think of the answers to these. What is the biggest lesson I've learned from a TV show?
Yeah.
Oh. Wow, wow, wow. I mean, if you want to get like, I'm a big like Survivor person. Like me and my family watch Survivor, and I've watched what's the other one when they do like the challenges around the world and they fly, Amazing Race,
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff. How inspiring! Like, just like watching that kind of stuff and watching these people like on Survivor and leave their families and leave their like lives and picking up and going somewhere and just living on your own and trying to get along with all these people, like not necessarily one single lesson that I've learned from watching something on TV, but just something that's super inspiring for me, and I love watching people on those shows that are a lot like yourself. Like when you get a coach who's on the show, or you get like a former athlete on the show, and just seeing like watching them interact with people who aren't athletes and don't do what you do for a living, and how they, you can be successful on a volleyball court, as a player, as a coach, but then thrown into a competition like that, it might be a totally different game. So those type of shows are very inspiring for me, definitely.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, does that kind of answer it a little bit?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I will say this to CBS. I auditioned got called down to New York City and did a face-to-face for Big Brother. So.
Get out of town. It's one of my favorite shows. Are you serious?
Yeah, I got to do that. So.
I love Big Brother. What happened? Tell me like very quickly. Like how was that whole thing? How'd that go down?
Yeah, so it was the same day that Syracuse was playing Duke in the Dome, and I flew to New York City with a book bag, and then flew back and went to the game. And so I went down there. I didn't know what to expect, and I'm the person, like, I am who I am. Like, I mean, that's...
This is open, like, casting call, or they, like, called you and were like, we want to interview you?
You send in a video, and then they send an email that had an attachment to it that said, like, we are inviting you to New York City. Like, we want to meet you. We're inviting select people. Please do not share this. Don't put this stuff out there.
Okay.
Like, we've sent it to you. So I showed up, and then you get in line. They give you a number and all that stuff. We go inside, and they break us up into groups of 5, and they put production people with us. And then there's just these 5 random people, and the production person takes all of our sheets. We can lie or tell the truth. And you put like your name, your age, what do you do for a living, this, that, whatever. and they look at everything, and then they'll ask you questions. So she came to me, she asked me a question, she asked this guy a question, then she took a little time, went to somebody, and then she asked each person one question, but she kept coming back to me and this other guy. So I was like, okay, maybe that's a good sign. But I also know I'm not over the top. Like, I am who I am. Like, I'm athletic, but I also consider myself intelligent. I'm intelligent, but I can play sports. So I'm not going to fit he's a nerdy guy who's not athletic, and I'm not going to be the dumb jock that stereotype. But I'm not a racist person. I'm not a prejudiced person. And sometimes they like those people to stir the pot. So I'm sitting there, and while I'm being me, I'm thinking to myself, like, I didn't come here dressed in a costume. Some people came in there trying to be very, like, sexually, like, I'm going to wear almost nothing and whatever.
Right.
So I didn't do any of that stuff. I just showed up, sweater, jeans, this is me. And I remember walking out of there going, I don't know if I did a good job. I don't know what I did. But there was this guy, and this guy was, like, in his 40s. And this is important to the story because he was already playing Big Brother with me at this audition.
Okay.
So he's behind me. I befriended this girl and this guy in front of me. So we're sitting next to each other, and I'm sitting next to this guy. I don't know him, but him and I, we're just talking and, building a rapport with each other. This guy taps us on the shoulder. He goes, hey, who are you guys? And I, thinking I'm being a gentleman, I looked at the guy. I said, you tell him who you are, and then I'll go. So I said, you do it. And then, he's like, who are you? Where are you from? So the guy tells him, like, this is me. This is where I'm from. And then he looks at me like, now you. And then they called us upstairs. This woman, these people interrupted. They said, you guys got to go up if you're this number. So I could feel him behind me. I could feel his energy. Like, it was negative. Like he was upset I didn't answer who I was, but we got interrupted. So we go upstairs. Woman says to him at our table, if you could take anybody out of the house from this table, who would you go after? He goes, I'd probably go after this guy because he didn't tell me who he was and he didn't tell me where he was from. And I was like, you're playing a personal game, bro. You're playing a personal game. So she said, who would you go after? And I looked around the table, and there was a girl at our table that she's like, I'm not athletic. I don't know how to do anything. I'm just going to cozy up to a guy, and that's how I'm going to win. And I was like, ew, like, why would you say that out loud? So I looked at him and I go, well, I'd probably get him out of the house, but not for a personal reason. I said, you've come back to us each 3 times. So because you've talked to us more than anybody else, I believe that he has charisma, and I know that I do. Since I'd never done I did an audition for theater and I got it, but I had never done an audition like that. I had no idea what I was doing, but I'm just a very honest person. So
How long ago was that?
That was, what season did they just do? 26. So that was 5 years ago.
Oh, okay. So like recently.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I'm not going to go in there and like do crazy things. Like, I'm just going to go in there and just be who I am. So
Right.
But it was a fun experience. I would do it again.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would do it again. And yeah, I mean, I like Big Brother.
Me too.
I'm just not a liar. So I would have to withhold information.
Right. Yeah, I've always been a huge Big Brother fan. Love it. Can't get enough of it.
All right. Well, with that being said, Miss Yaeger and the crew are going to be on the road today in Bethlehem, PA at Lehigh, and then you will see them this weekend. They will be out in New Jersey up against NJIT, and the hopeful opportunity to be home and hosting the America East Volleyball postseason tournament. Allie, thank you for all this time. I hope I didn't keep you from anything today.
Nope, not at all. So, my pleasure.
Thank you for the time, and God bless to the travels and to your match today, and we'll talk with you soon.
Thanks so much, Dan. Appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Coming from Allie Yaeger here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So we will take a step. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to end this video and start a new video in just a few minutes. So at 11 o'clock, we are going to be bringing you fantasy football. And as you know, on Wednesdays, we break into a separate video for fantasy football because of that content and the fact that I want people to be able to get to it, and it's a show within a show. So make sure that you hang out with us. We're going to end this video, and in just a few minutes, we'll see you at 11 a.m. as we get set for fantasy football here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Take care, and God bless.